Stand out with our exclusive backpack, proudly showcasing the one-of-a-kind Lamar Fashions logo, blending style and distinction into every design. Available in white or black, our backpack is lightweight and comfortable for your optimal comfort and shoulder fit. The main pocket inside can store daily necessities and contains a protective sleeve to hold your laptop along with interior pockets for storing valuables. With its classic shape, this backpack is perfect for business travel, laptop soft case, or luggage bag for short trips, and will make a great gift for any age group. The two exterior side pockets can hold your water bottles or your mobile phone. Order yours today in black or white at surplusproductsforyou.com. That's surplusproductsforyou.com.
Hello world, this is Talkin Live, and today we're going to talk about all our politicians in Washington, D.C. Geniuses they are.
Now, let's get ready. You are Talkin Live with Lamar Bearden.
Okay, welcome back to Talkin Live, and today we're going to have a political show. It's all about our wonderful, educated, ever-learning, never ever coming to the knowledge of the truth. That's Washington, D.C.
There was a stark contrast yesterday at the Munich Security Conference between the lack of any insights of the Democrats in the Trump administration when Secretary of State Marco Rubio had all the world leaders on their feet applauding that historic speech.
I want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. Our civilization, with a Europe that has the means to defend itself and the will to survive. We should be proud of what we achieved together in the last century. But now we must confront and embrace the opportunities of a new one. Because yesterday is over. The future is inevitable. And our destiny together awaits. Thank you. Yeah.
This is a sweet dog. That is my idea. Well,
At the Munich Security Conference, prominent Dems used the spotlight to position themselves as potential presidential nominees. But it didn't go so well. Here's AOC attempting to answer a simple question about America defending Taiwan.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is, of course, a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Even Kamala Harris was like, what the world is she talking about? Meanwhile, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer struggled when asked about resolving the war in Ukraine on Ukraine. Who knew you could just pass on questions?
On Ukraine, what does victory look like?
Everybody asks her.
No, please. I didn't answer.
Yeah, it is. The two that I am on the panel with are much more steeped in foreign policy than a governor is. But I do think that Ukraine's independence, keeping their land mass, and having the support of all the allies, I think is the goal.
So basically, we got two real smart people in Washington working for us every day, and they have no idea what it would take to be able to settle all these different problems we have in this United States with other countries. We have to stand for America. You know, these people don't stand for America. Then as I watched them in Congress, Crockett, and I watched Kennedy. I like Kennedy. He's done that. John Kennedy in Louisiana. And I watch a lot of these senators, these House of Representatives talking about different stuff. The House gets together, and we got these geniuses on the Democrat side, and I ain't saying that all the Republicans is the sharpest knife in the bunch, but my opinion, that half of them, or more than a half, don't even know what they're doing, what they're talking about when they do talk. Crockett talks about her agenda is racism. And her agenda is to wipe out white people because black people is special. No, everybody is special. We live in a country where we have all races of the world. Now, Somalia, with the situation in Minnesota, then what does it take to go in there, catch everybody for what they're doing? I ain't seen no faces go to prison. I hadn't seen Omar's financial statement. But you can't make $35 million in 4 months. I mean, 4 years in politics. You just can't do it. There's something rotten in Denmark. There's something wrong. And see, these are people that want to get in, like AOC. They want to get in there. They want to boast themselves as what they say they are and what their ideas are. Their ideas don't even match up with what we need in this country. You take from the beginning. Let's go back to 2020. Let's go back to that. And the election, we was having this election, and everything's going this way, that way, and all these problems we was having with the borders. And then we got people in this country that the politics is that nothing's wrong with what happened those 4 years. And we got people that's so ignorant, they think they know it takes time. Most of them know up there what it takes because they know every crooked way in the book in Washington, D.C. They have lawyers up there. Of course, they don't know which is a man and which is a girl, or they don't know what a woman is. I know there's a lot of them like that in politics up there, senators and the House and all that. But it don't take no genius to see what happened with Joe Biden. Joe Biden opened the borders. Joe Biden scrapped most of the wall that was going to be built. Taxpayer money. He scrapped all that stuff, and that put another burden on our economy because the money they took and bought that stuff with, Donald Trump bought it with, put that on that just so to give it away, made a whole lot of people money on this steal. He continue to, his clowns, his ignorant, well, actually, I don't call people ignorant that open up open up the border and just let all these people in. It was for a purpose. They always, the border's secure. The border's secure. I'd hear that over and over, all during the administration of Joe Biden. The border's secure. If the border is secure, why do we have 20 million people in this country illegal? That's what the numbers I've heard. I mean, I know that the Democrats, they stand on a building, they count them all as they come in. They was counting them as they're coming in. But see, they didn't let us know that many was coming in. But we had sense enough as American people to know what was coming into this country. All right, so we all listen, and then we started these solar panels. We had this great deal, man. It's going to pay for all of the electricity we needed. So that caused the gas prices to go up. We had gifts to the Chinese and to people like the South Koreans manufacturing these solar panels. And they know all the time they can't outdo gas, oil. And that brought more and more problems for the people with the cost of living. Because when the truck companies out in California and all the different places had to drive and pay such a high price for diesel, and people getting deliveries with food, everything that was delivered for the consumer to buy was charged up higher. And so that's what we got here. We got these people that don't know, and a lot of them do know. See, when I say ignorant, I mean they're just plain ignorant when concerning anything. I mean, we don't have no money for this, we don't have no money for that. And it's because you Democrats, you voted to supply faggots, turn men into women, money for schools to operate on little children that didn't know right from wrong. You wouldn't put in all this money to these different places. You let people like Omar in the White House or in the Congress, in the government, to me, and you let all this happen. And they was stealing us blind, man. They was taking dollars, our government, our politicians, the Democrats, and I know there were some Republicans involved in that. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Epstein. All of your perverts up there. And I know, I've been to Washington, D.C., I've been in the Pentagon, I know all this stuff. I know what kind of people's in our government. There's faggots. There's people like that getting money they don't deserve because they're against everything that's nature. These doctors want to change a little boy into a girl. And then you get on there and you talk about how all those girls, and it's a bad thing, Epstein. You get on there and you talk about how bad children was taken over to the island, which I don't doubt it. And it's wrong. And it was, as our Attorney General said, he's a monster. But you want to go against our Attorney General, I've heard that. I've seen that too, but see, And all that money that you spend, and you're complaining about ICE, you're complaining about everything, and you are the one that made it happen. It wasn't Donald Trump made it happen. It was you in Congress and the White House and the Senate. You know, I've heard stories about a lot of these people that are senators or congressmen calling escorts, having sex with them. I'm talking about homosexuality. I'm talking about prostitutes and all that. All of you are guilty of that. Every one of you. Just about it. I think there is some decent people in our House of Representatives, in our Senate, and in the White House. But see, you're after Donald Trump so bad, you don't care who it hurts. I'm fine with Donald Trump. I don't think he's that way. He had too many other beautiful women always around him. Well, now, why would he go have a little young girl? And then you're okay with these people that come from other countries having little girls for a wife. Man, I can't believe that you can sit with a clear face and say what you say on TV. That's why, well, you're the biggest piece of crap there ever was. You don't belong in there. But see, you got away with it because of your connections. You Democrats that stand for all that is wrong, and you get up there and want to harp on Epstein. And you know how Bill Clinton is. He got a blowjob in the White House. Now, what makes you think he wouldn't go to the island down there? Well, he did. He got a record of it. He was a little innocent guy, went down there to see Epstein. He didn't do no wrong. I don't know if Donald Trump ever went down there. I don't think so. Donald Trump has morals, see, and you don't have morals. And that's what makes me mad when I hear the news and I hear about Epstein. I hear people like Crockett. I hear all of them judging one person. You know, and I don't like some things Donald Trump does. I like to understand. I like to understand when somebody, like the Bible, somebody tells me something in the Bible, and I like to understand them if they're quoting something wrong. I like to understand them. I don't want to judge them. But I get to the point that I understand them, I back off. I get, you know, and then I don't say no more about it. I say, thanks, Lord, bless him for what he's doing for the Lord. But if you don't go with the Bible, it ain't worth nothing. In America, all you think about is dollar bills, all this stuff. And you're not doing nothing for the people of America. All this money that Donald Trump's going to have to spend, our tax dollars, is going to go toward all the costs of all this bull crap in Minnesota, all the costs out in California. And for you movie stars, and I've met a lot of you, and I like you as a person, but I don't like you as your agenda. I stand for what it says is right and what it says is wrong. I'm not perfect. Never will be. Neither are you. But I'll guarantee you, if you had a camera, if somebody spied on Congress and watch them, and every one of them, I ain't throwing out the Republicans either. There's some of them guilty of the same thing. You know, you can live your lifestyle all you want. You could be a homosexual. You can do anything. You can be a whore hopper. You can be a pervert. And see, most of you are pervert. You're pervert, or you wouldn't give out money to transgenders to spend money. You have to be pervert. You couldn't be a normal person. Well, God said, I made man, and he made a woman. And see, that's what's wrong with you in Washington, D.C. right now. You have forsaken the truth. And if you don't like somebody... Now, I remember when Biden was in there, all you Democrats and all of us said, well, we just have to deal with it. And look what happened when we deal with it. You spend billions and billions of dollars to work on getting these immigrants out of this country. And you that are ignorant and listen to the media and done things like this, getting out, destroying properties, throwing rocks at law enforcement. And then you got the nerve, you politicians, you Omar, all of you, Mandani, and all of you are whining because you're calling us Gestapo. Gestapo is a nation in Germany. If you've done that in Germany, if you see what happened in Iran, they killed their own people. And that's called Gestapo. That's called murderers. Just because we want to clean this country up, you want to call it Gestapo. SSI, all this other stuff, that the groups that went around killing all the Jews. And you see all this going on in Iran, and you got the nerve, man, to call this country, you Omar. I'll be glad they catch you, but in my mind, the way it works in Washington, you'll get away with it, and you'll stay right where you are. You'll get reelected, and you'll just go right on doing the wrong things you always done. That's the way I see you. AOC don't know what she's talking about. That's because you imagine that idiot being the president. She's so smart, she thought we ought to destroy all the buildings and rebuild the whole United States. That's a real good president we'd have, wouldn't it be? And get off that thing. Get off of it. Lay off our Attorney General. Lay off Donald Trump. If you ain't got no proof, I talk to people all the time. There's different kinds of people, and perverted too. But that don't mean I'm a part of them, or I don't go around them. I don't have no association with them. I tell them what they're doing is wrong. But I'd like for you to tell me which one of you in House, Congress, and the Senate, I'd like for you to tell me that you're not perverted, sick, perverted, abomination to God. I'd like you to tell me if you are better. You sit up there and you argue all the time with what's right. If it's wrong, it's right. If it's right, it's wrong. You can't even sit down like a gentleman or a lady and talk to one another, like both sides. You had to start an argument over there in the House of Representatives. You see it on the, you know what you look like to the American people. You know why the people don't have no confidence in you? One thing's for the media. One thing is what they see. Another thing, God knows. It's constantly arguing. It reminds me of a house full of a family that can't get along living together. You're supposed to be a family for our country. You're supposed to be a people that trust one another. But you're so corrupt. I mean, there's no excuse for letting Congress people get involved in the stock market so they can get all these, people come and tell them what the best is. I used to have a friend in New York who used to call me, tell me what stock to buy. But he wasn't in government. But I'm just trying my best to keep from hating you people in Washington. If it wasn't wrong, I'd hate your guts. But I don't want you to die and go to hell because that's where you're heading. And I hope you get this clear. I mean when I say I will not apologize. I will not get up and say something about something I disagree with that I think's wrong. I ain't going to apologize to you like you do. You apologize, you do something, you do something like some stupid thing, write some stupid thing. You think your apologies mean anything to the American people? You just said what you think. You just said what you believe in. You stand for what is wrong. And I may not. Donald Trump will try to get something in that makes sense that'll help America. And you Democrats, you go out there and you'll block it. You'll do anything you can to stop it. Because you're sorry. You're a sorry people. I'm not talking about the voters, all the voters, but I'm getting to the point. Stay tuned for part 2.
The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin Live Show presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin Live TV broadcast studio, EPB Fiber Optics, or by this network or its management.